All right, friends, it's T-Man, and I'm back with a brand new video again, and it's on our good friend here, Alberto Trejo. So he asked me to critique this video. This was the original video he wanted me to critique, but I critiqued the other one too. And that was a pretty good video, gotta say, man. Guy did a pretty good job. So, he says upper body eccentrics, 9 dips, presses, pulls, and rows. Okay, let's take a look.
All right, boys, this is my 9th training session doing eccentrics, and I did almost all of my upper body with the exception of neck and biceps and triceps. I did hit my forearms. So I'm doing these chain dips, and I was trying to simulate ring dips, but this is what I have to work with, so that's what I did. This is my first time doing this variation.
These are not easy, man. Jesus. Yeah, okay. Scalability, there's a high level of difficulty here, but okay, he's doing pretty good.
And it's a lot harder. Obviously, you have the component of stabilizing. And right now, I'm using this time to find pressing variations that don't agitate my left elbow.
Okay, here's the thing, man. Honestly, you have to stabilize yourself doing this, and we don't want to get injured. And the whole basis is just to get these micro tears. You know what I mean? Doing this exercise. So do you have to stabilize yourself at the same time trying to do this weight? No. This is just going to make the exercise a lot harder. See what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, it's voluntary. You're doing it. But should you do it? No, I don't recommend it. I recommend you use regular bars. But that's just me, man, honestly. If you want to do this, it's up to you. I personally would not recommend anybody do this. And you can go heavier, but you can't go heavier because trying to stabilize yourself. It's like these people doing, they're standing on these half rubber balls on the floor. And I don't know, they're trying to squat on it or do weird things on there. These stabilization things. We're not trying to stabilize ourselves. We're not practicing at that. We are just trying to damage as much muscle fibers as possible to get them to increase in parallel and in series. That's it. The whole goal is just that. So if you're doing this and you have to stabilize yourself, that just makes it more difficult and the possibility of you could get injured. So that's why I don't recommend it.
Because early January, I did mess my elbow up at work, and because I decided to be a good concentric lifting slave that day, I went to the gym, I did concentric barbell curls, heavy, and I basically fucked my shit up really bad. So I did 4 sets of 10 right here. And check out the knurling on my barbell right here. I was doing behind the neck presses, and every time the bar would come back down, it would peel some of my skin off on the back of my neck. So I ended up wrapping up this towel, and I'm probably gonna get shit for that, but it is what it is.
That's inventive. That's smart. See, you got the idea. You can throw the weight up because in the concentric, we're not interested in concentric lifting. We're just interested in the eccentric, and it has to be controlled. Why? Because it's heavy going down. See, look, people that fly dumbbells for the front, let's say the front delt, they throw these dumbbells up in the air, right? But there's no stress coming down. That's why they invented cable machines.
I try to match my...
Listen, that's the reason why they invented cable machines, because the weight is pulling you down, so you're controlling it. See what I mean? But you could try to control it with the dumbbell. But a lot of people have this idea. They throw it up in the air and then they just let it fall down. They don't really control it going down. That's why you have people telling you on the internet, oh, you should go really slow with the weight. See what I mean? Slow just means controlling with the dumbbells, with the barbells, these free weights. You're trying to control them going down. Yeah, like I said, you'll find that some cable machines going astronomically heavy are going to be a lot better than doing these so-called, well, I got to throw dumbbells up in the air and all that kind of stuff. The question is this: can you do this exercise on a cable machine? Yes, you can. You can actually bend forward. I'm not talking about going into outer space, going upward. You can bend your body down as if you're like benching it, standing up. You know how you bench press something standing up? Your arms are just pressing outward and inward. Well, you can bend your body down, the same thing. So you could take two cable machines, astronomically heavy, as heavy as you can pull, and get it to go outward for, well, a partial concentric, because you're not going to be able to make it for a full concentric, just enough that you can push it out and just let it pull you back, but controlled. You're going to get more out of the cable machine doing that than you would get doing these, throwing the weight up in the air and having it come down. Not saying these can't work, but they do. Now, some people just stick to concentric doing that. See what I mean? So it's all relative, really. It's up to you what you're going to do here.
My performance from the previous week here in a more compromised state, so to speak. And I mean, I only managed 3 out of the 5 sets by 10. This is the only shoulder variation that hits my shoulders really well. And I try.
Yeah, the problem with that, again, I mean, you have to keep throwing it up in the air. It's coming down. You're kind of not really controlling it that well. It's just dropping, kind of. It's just kind of dropping, which is not a good thing. You want to control it all the way down to the bottom. You do not want it to drop in any way. So, like I said, you can try these cable machines. You can try that, like what I explained to you.
Try to do these eccentric flies, and I was initiating the concentric.
Okay, here's the thing. What's going to be harder, if you press downward or if you press outward or upward? If you press outward, I mean, it's going to be a lot harder than pressing upward, right? And it's going to be a lot harder than pressing downward, because downward is going to be a lot easier. Anything that you're pulling down is going to be a lot easier on that cable machine. So pressing outward is going to be a lot harder. So you should be pressing this outward as heavy as you can go if you're doing your chest, right?
Trick with a press. And normally the way I like to do these is...
Look, I'll explain this too. A lot of people get used to doing things easy. They like it really easy. They're not really considering the exercise. They just are like, okay, I'm gonna push it downward because it's a lot easier. But the whole point of doing the exercise is not because it's easy. See what I mean? You want it to be hard. So you want to stand up and press it outward like you're bench pressing. Press it outward. Don't press downward. See what I mean? But if you're doing your lower chest, you want to kind of you want to keep your head up, and you want to press downward for the lower chest area, right? Like you would be doing on a decline bench press. You can still mimic these exercises like on a decline, incline, and bench pressing. But like I said, it's going to be harder. The incline on this particular, these cable machines are going to be a lot harder, and pressing it like you're bench pressing. But going down is going to be a lot easier. It's always going to be a lot easier.
Is to do the pulse-like reps in the stretched position with heavier weight. But if I do it in that mat,
you can, yeah, okay. Man, again, you don't need to keep your arms like that in a stretch position. It's dangerous. That so-called stretch position is very dangerous, and it doesn't work that well. It's better that you do this like a bench press, like you're bench pressing. Don't do these. A lot of people do them. Don't do them.
It's going to agitate my elbow, and I'm trying to avoid.
Exactly, it's going to agitate your elbow, because look at the way look at the position that you're in, the way it's pulling you outward. See what I mean? It's not worth it. Bench press it. Don't do this.
With that, it seems like the more I do the variations that I like, the more I'm prolonging the healing process. So I ended up doing these. I did 4 sets of 10 right here, I believe. And this is my favorite pull.
See, you started to kind of bench press it there because you found that bench pressing was better than just flying them. See what I mean? Don't do that.
Up variation, a very close neutral grip. It hits my lats so well, and the weight for this movement right now is perfect. The height that you see me...
All right, these are pretty good. Close grip. It's a compound exercise, just like the last exercise you did. Why don't people do one-arm cable bench presses with the cable machine? Why don't they do one-arm flies or one-arm bench presses? Why? Why do they do it compounded? Stability, because you're on a cable machine too, right? There's stability is involved there at the same time. So like I said, this is a very good exercise too, because it's compounded.
Jump up to is as high as I can go, and as much as I try to absorb that negative, it just drags me down, bro. It feels really good. Every time the weight pulls me down all the way, it's like my lats are catching, tearing every single rep. I did 5 by 10 right here, and this is my favorite row variation, the one arm landmine row. I'm standing on that wooden platform.
This is pretty good too. Here's another thing. Can you do this exercise on a cable machine, astronomically heavy, the entire stack? Yes. Without bending your arm and just using your back. Well, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it in your arm too, definitely. It's going to feel like it's tearing. But you definitely are going to feel it in your back area. Literally, like just pulling the weight with your back. Standing up, grabbing a cable machine, doing the whole stack, and maybe even putting more weight on it if you can. Literally using your arm, one arm, and pulling it with using the shoulder and back area to pull backward, but keeping your arm straight. You're gonna feel it a lot more, trust me. You're gonna feel a lot of people make this mistake in the gym. They don't understand eccentric exercises. If you're bending your arm, this is a concentric exercise. That means you're able to do it for a concentric. And if you can do it for a full concentric, this is not an eccentric exercise. Eccentric exercise means that you cannot do it for a full concentric. It's difficult. And when it comes to back rowing, I found that I had to keep my arm, if I was doing eccentric overload, a very heavy weight, that my arm couldn't bend in. It was very difficult for it to bend. Maybe it might bend a bit, but very difficult. So all the mechanical tension is on the back. So I'm literally using my shoulder blade to pull the weight backward. I'm using my shoulder blade, my shoulder blade, my back area to pull that weight in and then let it go down with the weight. That's all I'm doing. The range of motion is very short. See what I mean? But the range of motion here, you're using your arm, so it's going to go all the way up. Watch.
Platform right there to give me extra range of motion.
There.
And
see, you're still lifting like a concentric lifter, and a lot of people make that mistake. See what I mean? In eccentric exercise, we do not do concentric lifting. This is a concentric lift. This is not eccentric. But here's the problem now. Can you get damage doing this, doing a full eccentric concentric exercise? Yes. But the question is how? Well, you're going to have to add a lot of sets. Now, you probably, just this exercise alone, you'd probably have to do like 15 sets of like 10 reps, between 8 and 12 reps. That's a lot for some people to do. See what I mean? So that's why it exhausts you. Concentric exercise would exhaust you if you were trying to overwork it doing full eccentric concentric exercises to try to eke out some damage. See what I mean? That's why it's not superior. The modality is not superior. I started like that when I was younger, but I moved to eccentric overloads because that's what got me over my hump.
at the bottom of the movement, I'm letting the weight really drag me down, and I'm also trying to...
Okay, that's not bad. I noticed, okay, you're kind of letting it drag you down, but yeah, okay, this could work.
Lean into the stretch. The way I do these...
Right there, you're bending it. You want more emphasis on the back. You want your shoulder blade to pull backward and then let it go down. You want to use your arm.
I'm trying to use momentum to get the weight.
There you go. Your arm is kind of bending, so again, you're using your arm in this exercise. These exercises, they'll shrink your arms is what they'll do. See what I mean? A lot of people in the gym, they can't figure out why their arms are getting bigger, why they're shrinking, or they're getting smaller or something. It's because they've been using their arms in all the exercises. That's the problem. Remember, you're using your arms a lot. If you are using your arms to pull yourself up on the pull-up bar, like let's say a lot of people concentrically lifting, they're doing pull-ups. Well, what are you using? Your arms. Okay, what are they going to do now? Oh, I'm going to do dumbbells for my arms. Why? Because you're going to make them grow? Okay, now I'm going to do rows for my back, barbell rows. I'm going to do dumbbell rows, and now I'm going to do cable rows. I'm going to do behind the back rows, cable rows from the front, close grip rows. Man, you're using your biceps like crazy. So guess what happens? They become overtrained now. And what do? They shrink in the concentric form. They shrink, actually. That's what happens. A lot of people can't figure out why they got small arms concentrically lifting. See what I mean? But then they try to offset it by bulking, doing these crazy things like bulking, creatine, adding more water, or eating a lot of carbs to blow themselves up. And in fact, they actually shrunk the muscles. They didn't realize that. A lot of people have a problem. They love this thing where they want to get a peak. You get the peak when you get more of these sarcomeres in series, when they elongate. That's where the peak comes from. The density, that whole dense part, the other part, the density of the muscle comes from the sarcomeres in parallel.
Up as high as I can so I can have the decent range of motion, but this hits your obliques really.
Yeah, you see, you're throwing the weight up again. This isn't an eccentric exercise. The eccentric means it's focused on the back. Use your shoulder blade. Let your arm hold that weight. Let your shoulder blade pull backward, and then let your shoulder blade go down slowly with control. Then pull it. Then use your shoulder blade to pull back and let it control on the way down. Do not use your arm.
Good too. I really love this movement. And then I did some power shrugs for the traps. This movement never fails to damage my traps, whether it's close grip, medium grip, snatch grip.
Okay, there's no control on the bottom. Notice you bounced it up and it just dropped. It just dropped. Here's the thing. Again, with eccentric exercises, we go really heavy because we're controlling it. We don't really care too much about the concentric, but the control is very important going down. See what I mean? So we want it really heavy. So we use that muscle to pull the weight up. We don't throw it up. We use it to pull it up. Definitely we do, because the range of motion is going to be very short when you move it upward. If you try to, what you're doing, throwing it up or squeezing it up, that's different. A lot of people do that, make that mistake. See what I mean? So in this exercise, you can use cable machines. You can do them, for each arm, one arm at a time. You can use the barbell, what you're doing here now. The difference is you're going to have to let your traps lift that weight. Try to let your lats lift it and then lower it controlled. Do not bounce it and let it drop like you're doing here.
Or even on a trap bar. I did 5x10 here.
See that? It just goes up and you're just like, it's kind of like dropping. There's no control at the bottom. It's not controlled. That's why eccentrics are controlled, because we're going astronomically heavy. We don't need to go light on these exercises. We try to go as heavy as we can eccentrically.
And yeah, again, I'm just trying to, whatever you want to call it, power it up, cheat it up, and then I try to catch the barbell with my traps, and at the bottom, it just tears them up. So I'm probably doing these rear delt flies wrong.
Actually, you're doing them right now. As far as I can see, it looks like you're doing it right. You can go astronomically heavy on this for sure. Trust me. Yes, you can.
I was trying to do them like Genetic Beast is always talking about. So I may be butchering this.
Okay, here's the thing with this. You don't have to fly them. Turn your hands facing your face, like as the handles here. You need to turn them inward. Turn them inward, and then push outward for your rear delt. Do not fly them. This is gonna make it more difficult. We simply want to pull it. We want to pull it, and then let the weight pull us up. Let the weight pull the muscle up. That's it. Controlled. So the reason being, you don't need to go for it. Doesn't have to be for a full concentric. You could go astronomically heavy on this, whatever you can control for an eccentric, but not a full concentric. And then just let the weight pull you upward. You pull down and just let it pull you upward. That's it. That's all you have to do, really. I know it's hard for people to understand eccentric exercises. They're like, what? You can go really heavy on eccentric, your rear delts. And this is a good exercise, a cable machine. That's why I try to emphasize using cable machines.
It's exercise, but I did feel rear delt activation here on my later.
Okay, you're not, yeah, you could feel it, but you're really not going enough. You're not, let's just put it this way. If you were to turn your hands inward, you would be able to, the back of your shoulder would be able to go a lot further down, and then just let the weight pull you up. But I mean, that's okay. I mean, you're gonna eventually, you gotta learn, right? You're doing pretty good here.
Sets, I was kind of coming up with the weight off the ground, and I was trying to use that momentum
I know what you're trying to do. This is still pretty good. You're still gonna get something there. There's something happening. There's work going on.
to get a little bit more concentric, and then just let the weight pull on my shoulders. And probably my favorite muscle group to train are the
Yeah, you wanted to pull on your rear delt. Okay.
forearms. I did 10 by 12 here, and I should have.
Okay, I don't do these. And this is concentric, what you're doing here. It's concentric. What we want to do is, remember, we're not doing it for a full concentric. We simply bring the weight up concentrically. We initiate concentrically. We want it to pull the muscle downward. We want the weight to pull the muscle down. We bring it up a bit and we want it to pull it down. You understand me? And also, you can use if you don't have those what do you call it? Those straps like they have in arm wrestling. You could probably use that thing that you had there, the cable, the pulls. You can put your thumb around the material and just do these twisting motions for your forearms, just like they do in arm wrestling. The same thing, you know that. It's a twisting motion. It goes around your thumb. You do a twisting motion. That's it. Basically, you're focused on the eccentric part of that twisting motion. That's all. For the forearms, it's very important. That's gonna build your forearms like crazy. This exercise, again, I mean, you're kind of rolling it up. It's better to do it the opposite direction, where your palms are facing up towards your face, and you could try cables. You could go with both arms. Get a bar, hook up the cable with one bar, and do both arms at the same time, so it's compounded, and just keep lowering it eccentrically, really heavy, and just bring it up and then lower it. Just keep doing multiple sets. Do multiple sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. That's it. And then you can do the front part of your forearm, the same thing. You bring it up a little bit, and then you let the weight drag the muscle downward with gravity. We want to cause as much damage to those fibers as possible. It's a downward thing. I think you get the idea, anyways.
Probably should have done more. I'm barely initiating the concentric, and then I just let the weight open up my hands.
Because a lot of people do this. It's actually concentric. A lot of people, if you look around gym, it's all concentric lifters. They do this. They love doing this, and they just never get anywhere really with it.
And that's pretty much it, man. Let me know what you think.
That was pretty good, man. I'll see you in the next video. Tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. I'll see you in the next one. I hope that helped, man. If you need any more help, just comment in the section, and then I don't know. We'll take it from there.